Hello and welcome to the Week 15 recap slash bowl predictions video slash I'm sorry it's so late. Yeah, I had a bit of technical difficulties. My computer would not operate, and I just really couldn't sit down and record this because it's the Christmas season and I work retail, um, so I'm going to jump right into it. There's a lot to go over. So for starters, Army Navy. I had Army winning. They did. It was a really close, really exciting game, right down to the last minute. Army gets their third consecutive win in the series and has a chance against, I believe, Houston. As of recording this tomorrow, as of when I post this, most likely the day of, a chance to get to their first 11-win season in school history, if they were to beat Houston in their bowl game, which is a huge milestone for this team. They're reaching heights they haven't. Reaching heights. They've won national titles, but back before they played even 11 games in the season. This is really exciting territory. This is the first time they've ever won this many games in a season, and it's a lot to do with their current coach. He's doing a lot for this school. So that capped off my whole regular season. Obviously, it was 1 of 1 on week 15, put me at 100%. 214 of the 274 games that matter I had this year correct. That's a 78.1% correct rate. As far as the entire season, there were 844 games in the regular season and the conference championships this season. I got 636 of them correct, puts me at a 75.4% correct rate on the whole season. Which leads us to the next part, the postseason. The postseason has a lot going on. What I'm going to do for this, I'm going to do all the bowl games, plus the 2 playoff game predictions, and then I'll probably do another video before the national title with my prediction for the national title, just centrally focusing on the national championship. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. A lot of these games at the beginning obviously have already been played. Like I said, I'm really sorry. I made my predictions on time, but due to technical difficulties, I could not get this video out before then. So the first slew of bowl games were Saturday, December 15th. I had Tulane versus Louisiana in the AutoNation Cure Bowl. I had Tulane winning that game. Tulane, I felt, was on an uptick this year. Louisiana kind of losing their footing a little bit towards the end, so I went with Tulane. Next was Utah State versus North Texas in the New Mexico Bowl presented by Progressive. I had Utah State winning this game, and I feel like they've just had such a stellar season this year. I believe they finished 10-2 in the regular season. I just felt like they were on track to a bowl win here. Next was Arizona State at number 21, Fresno State in the versus number 21 Fresno State in the Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl. Forgive me on some of my handwriting was a little small and a little bad. I had Fresno State winning this game. I feel like they've had a good season coming off a conference win, a conference championship win. I felt like they were in a position. Arizona State's had a great season, a great first season under a new head coach, but I felt like Fresno State just had a little more going for them right now. Next was Georgia Southern at Eastern Michigan in the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl, and I had Georgia Southern winning this one. I thought it would be close, but I felt like Georgia Southern just was a little bit better this year. Middle Tennessee versus Appalachian State in the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. I had Appalachian State winning their bowl game here, coming off a conference championship win, the first conference championship game in the Sun Belt, and they won it, getting their 3rd straight year with at least a share of the conference title. And Middle Tennessee kind of been up and down, mostly down, losing that rematch conference title game most recently. So I had Appalachian State winning this. Then it was Tuesday, December 18th, UAB versus Northern Illinois in the Cheribundi Boca Raton Bowl. I had UAB winning this one. Now, I've been really high on UAB ever since they came back into college football. Last year was their first season back, and they managed to pick up right where they left off. Made bowl eligibility, made a bowl game, but did not win their bowl game. This year, they were on fire. I believe they had a 10-win season, won the CUSA conference, and ended up with their I had them ending up with a bowl win here, I think, to cap off a stellar sophomore season after the program was shut down. And props to them on this whole season. They've been doing really well. I'm really happy to see a team get shut down and come back from such a... Not happy to see them get shut down, but I'm happy to see them respond to the adversity of being shut down by coming right back and picking up where they left off. Next was Wednesday, December 19th, San Diego State versus Ohio in the DXL Frisco Bowl. I had Ohio winning this one. Ohio's just done a little better this season than San Diego State. San Diego State had a good season, but when you compare it to the last few, they kind of fell short this year. So I feel like Ohio was on the uptick, San Diego State kind of on the downtick. I went with Ohio. Next was Marshall on Thursday, December 20th. Marshall versus South Florida in the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. I had Marshall winning this one. Again, South Florida looks good record-wise. All things considered, losing your quarterback 7-5 is not a terrible position to be in. However, 7-5 when you started the season 7-0 is terrible place to be in going into a bowl game. Marshall, on the other hand, had been kind of up and down. They were kind of on their uptick right now. I picked Marshall. Friday, December 21st, FIU versus Toledo in the Makers Wanted Bahamas Bowl. I had FIU winning this one. However, it was a tough choice. I picked FIU just because I felt like they've had a monster season this year, and Toledo has always been a good team. Always one of the teams you know about who's gonna usually put up anywhere from 8 to 10 wins. They're constantly in that area, but I felt like FIU just was a little bit stronger this year. And Western Michigan versus BYU in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. I picked BYU to win this game. I know the records say Western Michigan is the better team, but I feel like BYU just has more power behind them, and that their record is not indicative of how good the team actually is, and that they have a few games here that they lost by a few points to teams that were actually pretty good this year. So that's it for the games that are already over. I'm going to go with I'm just going to keep going from here. We got Saturday, December 22nd, Memphis versus Wake Forest in the Jared Birmingham Bowl. I've got Memphis winning this game. Memphis has kind of been, they were low at the beginning of the season. They've kind of been rising up as they go along. Wake Forest has just kind of been fluctuating a little bit, and so I'm going to go with Memphis to win. Houston versus Army in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. I got Army winning this one. I really am high on Army this year. They're 10-2 right now, I believe, and this would make them 11-2. The first time in school history they have been an 11-win team. So I'm picking Army to go with this one. Next is Buffalo versus Troy in the Dollar General Bowl. Troy's a good team. So is Buffalo. I like Buffalo's chances this year. I'm picking Buffalo to win their bowl game here, and really cap off an excellent season for them. Hawaii versus Louisiana Tech in the Sophie Hawaii Bowl. I'm picking Hawaii to win this one. They've done a good job this year bouncing back. They've had quite a few losing seasons in a row. This year, bouncing back, getting bowl eligible. I gotta say, part of the reason I'm picking Hawaii to win this one is that it's a home game, essentially, for them. So I'm picking Hawaii. Wednesday, December 26th, Boston College versus number 25 Boise State in the Serve Pro First Responders Bowl. I've got Boise State winning this one. Boston College is a good team. They'll keep it low scoring and close, but I like Boise State to come out on top in a close one on this one. Minnesota versus Georgia Tech in the Quick Lane Bowl. I've got Georgia Tech winning this one. Georgia Tech's kind of been all over the place this year, but so has Minnesota. And I feel like they're going to come together. They're going to put up a few points on each other. Not like high scoring, but not low scoring either. They're going to kind of be mid-range scoring, I think. And it's going to be probably one of those games of whoever has the ball last is going to win. Next on the list is California versus TCU in the Cheez-It Bowl. I've got California, Cal winning this game. They're on a good path right now, had a strong finish to the season, whereas TCU's just kind of, like I said, like a lot of teams in the bowl eligibility right now, kind of all over the place this year. So I got Cal winning that one. Next is Thursday, December 27th, the Temple versus Duke Walk-On Independence Bowl. I've got Temple winning this one. Duke's had a good season, but Temple has been a surprise. They started off bad. They lost to Villanova, and everyone kind of wrote them off. I think they lost to Villanova. They lost a game early that they shouldn't have, and everyone kind of wrote them off, myself included. And then they've just sort of come roaring back to life in the second half of the season, put up some good numbers. I kind of like Temple in this one. Miami, Florida versus Wisconsin in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. I like Miami to win this one. It is closer to Wisconsin in terms of where the game will be played, but I feel like Wisconsin's had a somewhat disappointing season, and I feel like Miami's gonna come on out on top with the win. If I could get that out, jeez. Next is Baylor versus Vanderbilt in the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl. This is in Baylor's home state. However, I think Vanderbilt comes away with the win here. Baylor has kind of sputtered along to get to 6 wins on the season, whereas Vanderbilt, I feel like, given the conference they've had to go up against, they had to play Kentucky this year, they had to play Georgia, they've had to play Florida, and they still came out with a bowl eligibility. I kind of like Vanderbilt's chances here to win this game. Next, the Friday, December 28th, Purdue versus Auburn in the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. Say that 10 times fast. I got Auburn winning this one. Like I said, I've always felt Auburn is a better team this year than their record has shown. That being said, so is Purdue. So I think it'll be closer than anticipated, but I got Auburn coming out on top. Now, number 16, West Virginia versus number 20, Syracuse in the Camping World Bowl. I gotta go with West Virginia in this one. I think West Virginia is having a good season. Had a little bit of a rocky finish. Still a really, really close game in that Oklahoma game at the end of the season. I'm thinking West Virginia comes out on top over Syracuse. Number 24, Iowa State versus number 13, Washington State in the Valero Alamo Bowl. I'm picking Washington State to win this one. I think they're going to bounce back. Their last game was that loss to Washington, their in-state rival, and I think that's going to sit wrong with them, and they're going to want to prove themselves in a bowl game. And Iowa State, really, their last game of the season was against a non-Division I team, a non-BCS college football playoff era team, and they didn't look good in it. For a top 25 team, it was not a good showing. So I'm going with Washington State to win that one. And Saturday, December 29th, number 10 Florida versus number 7 Michigan in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. I actually deliberated over this one quite a lot. Maybe one of the hardest ones I've had to pick this bowl season. And I went with Michigan. Now, Michigan has had a good season. Their opening loss to Notre Dame was a close one. Their closing loss, probably the most disappointing game of the season for them. I feel like their defense didn't show quite the way they should have. There was too much at stake, and they kind of folded. However, I think that is going to drive them in this game. Florida's offense is not nearly as anywhere even in the same league as Ohio State's. So I expect this one to be much lower scoring. It's going to be a defensive slug out, and I kind of like Michigan's chances in that one. Next is South Carolina versus Virginia in the Belk Bowl, and I'm picking South Carolina to win this one. Virginia's a good team, and they've had a good season, but South Carolina has shown moments of really strong football in the end of the season here. That game against Clemson, they were in it up until late in the game, so I got to give South Carolina the nod here. Arkansas State versus Nevada in the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl. I'm picking Nevada to win this one. They've had a stellar season, coming off a couple of losing seasons back to back here. To come out 7-5 and show up for a bowl game now, I kind of like their chances to win this one. Arkansas State's kind of on the fence for me, so I'm picking Nevada. Now, I have a few bowl games, and I'm going to get them out of the way first and then come back to the playoff games, even though the playoff games would technically be played before these bowl games. So, Monday, December 31st, Cincinnati versus Virginia Tech in the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman. So, these bowl games are getting longer and longer. I got Cincinnati winning this one. Virginia Tech's up and down again. I kind of like Cincinnati. Stanford versus Pittsburgh in the Hyundai Sun Bowl. I'm picking Stanford to win this one. Pitt's had a good season, but I think Stanford's just a slightly better team. Michigan State versus Oregon in the Red Box Bowl. I'm picking Oregon to win this one. Michigan State's just been too iffy on defense for me. I like Oregon. Number 23, Missouri versus Oklahoma State in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. I got Missouri winning this one. Oklahoma State's going to put up some points, keep it close, but I like Missouri's chances to win here. Number 22, Northwestern versus number 17, Utah in the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. I got Northwestern winning this one. I feel like they've had a strong finish to the season despite that loss in the conference championship game, and I feel like they'll get the win here. NC State versus number 19 Texas A&M in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. I like Texas A&M's chances to win here. NC State's had a good season, but just Texas A&M I think is a stronger team. On Tuesday, January 1st, number 18 Mississippi State versus Iowa in the Outback Bowl. I got Mississippi State winning this one. I feel like Iowa's had a good season, but it's just Mississippi State's got a little bit more offensive power. Number 11 LSU versus number 8 UCF in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. I've got number 11 LSU winning this game and putting it into UCF's 25 game win streak, I believe. That being said, I said UCF was going to lose the conference championship as well. So, hey, shows what I know. Number 14, Kentucky versus number 12, Penn State in the VRBO Citrus Bowl. I got Penn State winning this one. Kentucky's a good team, but their offense is very one-dimensional, and I feel like Penn State will take advantage of that defensively, and that Trace McSorley will get out there and put up some good numbers. Next is number 9, Washington versus number 6, Ohio State in the Rose Bowl presented by Northwestern Mutual. I've got Ohio State winning this one. I feel like they're a good team offensively. They'll overpower Washington. I got Ohio State winning the Rose Bowl. And number 15, Texas versus number 5, Georgia in the All-State Sugar Bowl. And I've got Georgia winning this one. I think Texas is a good team, but I feel like Georgia's the team that got left out of the playoffs that you could probably plug them in and they'd still win. And I don't feel like Texas meets that same level, so I feel like Georgia should win that one. Now for the playoffs. The first one is number 3, Notre Dame versus number 2, Clemson in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. I'm picking Clemson. It hurts to say this, but I feel like it's going to be a lot closer. A lot of the news media a lot of the sports media has been saying that Clemson's offense is going to completely overpower Notre Dame and all that. And I think people are underestimating this Notre Dame team. That I think this is possibly the best Notre Dame team that that Brian Kelly has had in his tenure as the coach. So, that being said, I think it's going to be a close game, but I got Clemson coming out on top. And number 4, Oklahoma versus number 1, Alabama in the Capital One Orange Bowl. You know I gotta pick Alabama. I mean, as much as I would love to see Oklahoma win this game, I think this one's going to be a higher scoring game, maybe 34-37, somewhere around there. I got Alabama winning it, though. And that's my bowl game predictions. Like I said, I'll be back for a national championship prediction once the playoff games are over. I'll probably do a recap up to that point on that Sunday. Keep everything in place, maybe do an up to that point, and then a recap, and then a national championship prediction. We'll see how it folds out. It's kind of touch and go at this point, but thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I am so sorry about the late video. If you like what I'm doing, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys after all this is over for the next video.